Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I'm here today to review Eddie Murphy's Raw. Now, I haven't seen this since, it was either spring or summer of 1988 when I was in the Army. I was in Fort Gordon, Georgia. Now, this movie came out in 87, and I found out that the people that show the movies in the military, AFN, they show like second-run movies. You know, whenever a movie is done with its initial run in the theaters, AFN buys it, and then they show it at their theaters, you know. And they were having, it came out whenever I was still, before I went in the Army. I went in the Army November 22nd, 1987. I can't remember when the movie came out. I remember seeing it on Siskel and Ebert, and they were, they hated it. They were dissecting it. They were saying that Eddie Murphy hates women. And that's when the whole politically correct thing came about. And then you heard about some of that when you were doing cadence in the military too, in basic training and stuff. Now, as far as that's concerned, I didn't see it in the movie. I saw it again, and he was just talking about relationships, the difference between men and women. And he was talking just about as much bad things about the guys as there were about the women, saying that guys cheat and guys need to, you know, guys need to decide if they want a really nice woman, and a whole bunch of neat stuff on there. And also he's talking about money, because in the 80s we were we're doing pretty well for ourselves, and in the 90s as well. And they were talking about Johnny Cat. Well, the whole thing about divorce. He's talking about divorce, where Johnny Carson, one of his wives, he had like $300 million, and his one wife was married to him like 10 years, and she wanted half, $150 million. Eddie Murphy was going off on that, saying that he's got to be careful with his fortune. You know what I mean? If he marries someone, and then they want half. And the movie is really funny, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The history of the story was, like I said, AFN buys these movies after they run their original run through the theaters. And we had I left basic training, and then I had a choice of taking a vacation between basic and AIT, and I didn't do that. Maybe I should have, but I thought maybe I didn't, because I already took we already had a mandatory Christmas vacation break, 15 days in the middle of basic training. You know, and then when base training was up, they said you could have like 19 days off and then go back to Fort Gordon, Georgia. Or just go on the bus and go straight there, and I thought maybe I should go straight there. And then I took my vacation after Fort Gordon, Georgia, before going to Germany for 19 days. Well, anyways, go down to Fort Gordon, Georgia, and you're on something called Phase 4. And you're, like you said, you get through base training. Phase 4, it's like AIT's version of basic training, kind of, where like you had to always wear your civilian your BDUs, either that or your PT uniform, you know, your military uniforms. And you had to go sign in and sign out when you're going places. Even though there's a lot more freedom, you could go down to the chow hall, you could go down to the shop and you play video games and stuff like that. You still had a lot of freedom, but it wasn't like, it was still a little bit strict, but it wasn't that bad. Much bad. I mean, it felt like a lot of freedom compared to basic training. And that night, that one Saturday night, they were short of people to do CQ, which is Commander of Quarters. And I had to work alongside the drill sergeant. It was like a 12-hour shift. I believe like at least 8 at night to 8 in the morning or something like that. And they said if you do this, you can get off. It was a Friday night. You can get off Phase 4 early. And so, you know, I did that, and I slept. And back then I had a lot of energy and stuff like that. So I was up pretty much early. I was really excited. think around 12 o'clock. I mean, I got off at 8 o'clock. I slept till 12, I think. I got up. I put on my civilian clothes. I was very happy to do that. First time wearing civilian clothes in a while. And I went down to, under much of the protest of my fellow roommates. But they were jerks. Okay. And there was 2 movie theaters there. The Signal, and there was the other one. I can't remember the other one's name. I went to the other one because they had an afternoon movie there. Signal, I don't think the Signal theater didn't have an afternoon movie, but this one did. And I went to Burger King first. It was fantastic. I had a Whopper and a large fries, or I might have a double Whopper and large fries and drink. It was really, really good. And then I went to see the movie, and the movie was Eddie Murphy's Raw. And I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. And then that's the real memory I had of the movie. I remember that movie. And I haven't seen it till today on Easter, like so many years later. I saw Delirious finally, because I remember seeing the cassettes last year on Netflix, or in 2015, I can't remember. I think I might have mentioned Raw too, but I never saw it again. But I did see it again this time. Like I said, the people complaining about misogyny or it wasn't. He went back and forth talking about relationships and the way people are. If you go to like a female comedian, she'll say some bad things about guys too. I mean, it was a back and forth. It was like he was talking about couples. But of course, he's on the guy's side, kind of. And aside from that, was the one that a lot of people were bitching about. And then a lot of the other stuff was, he was talking about people being mad at Delirious, talking about Mr. T, and then he did talk about Bill Cosby. He did a great impersonation of Bill Cosby. And then he talked about Richard Pryor. He called Richard Pryor, and then he did a great Richard Pryor impersonation, really great. Because he said when he was in 15, he wanted to be like Richard Pryor, and he used to mimic the way he talked and the way he said stuff, and he was talking about using the bathroom. And then that's weird because the movie opened up with a skit, Thanksgiving 1968, which is the year I was born, even though I was born December 29th, 1968. And they talked about him, like the kids performing and stuff like that for their parents on Easter. I mean, on Easter, on Thanksgiving. And they're doing a show, and then Eddie Murphy did like this bathroom joke that was really, really funny. And then I saw in the credits, the opening credits, they said that the skit was written by Keen Ivory Wayans. That's the first time ever. Well, I didn't know who he was at the time, but that was the very first time I ever seen him in any credits, because about like a year or so later, he did I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, and then, of course, In Living Color. That's the first I heard of him. And then it was directed by Robert Townsend. And Robert Townsend did the movie Hollywood Shuffle. That was a spoof on movies and stuff. Keen Ivory Wayans might have been in that, but I wouldn't have known him at the time. It's possible he would have been in that, but I wouldn't have recognized him at the time. Because I didn't know who he, like I said, not until I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, which I saw like a year later. And then In Living Color when I came home from Germany. But I mean, I really liked the movie. It was really good. I remember that part of you talking about if you're starving and then all of a sudden you eat a cracker. Someone gives you a cracker, the best cracker you ever ate in your life. I remember that bit. And I also remember the ending. Some of the comedy gets really. He covers a bunch of different topics during the last 20 minutes. And I'm not giving away any spoilers. It's a comedy movie. It's a concert film. And he ends the concert, talking to his drunk dad, and he said, like, we were so poor we had to eat our toys. That was a very, very strange segment. I remember his dad was singing the theme song to the Slinky ad, and then that's when he ended the show. That was strange. And also, I really enjoyed the movie. But like I said, they were talking about women, like, wanting a lot of money or being vindictive. He even referred to Madonna saying "material girls, material world," talking about it's definitely a different, like a time capsule for the '80s about relationships and the way things have been going. I still think it's a good movie. I know some critics pounced on it, but I mean, sometimes they're just so uptight. I thought it was a very entertaining film. Not always laugh out loud funny. There was lots of funny parts in it, but some parts were just interesting, not as funny. And they even had an interesting thing right after that little skit. They did something like they do in some of the other ones. They interview a couple people, saying, you know, they're talking about a couple fans and stuff like that. And some people were saying what their favorite Eddie Murphy movie. And then I thought it was kind of cool. The guy said, this guy at the end said, I even like Best Defense, which was notoriously bad for Eddie Murphy at the time. He's made some real clunkers before that, but Best Defense was probably the one that really, that was the first really bad clunker movie he did. That was funny, the guy mentioned it. He said, I even like Best Defense, and he started laughing. You know, I didn't see Best Defense until, about a year later in Germany. I did rent it, and I thought it was alright. I mean, I liked the first 40 minutes, and then the rest of it was alright. But, I liked Raw. I think it was a really good movie. I give Eddie Murphy Raw a 9 out of 10. And I think it's an important film because I have a history behind it. And those are important films like Teen Wolf 2 regarding the Army. Because like I was talking about that Emerald Lane's closing and they had Uncle Charlie's in that same building. And then right close by is the movie theater. And we got, the night before I had to go in the Army, Dad took me to eat at Uncle Charlie's. I'll never forget it, right? Well, we had to go to bed early. I think the guy ended up coming and picked me up around like 11 o'clock the next day. 11 in the morning, I think. We went to bed. I went to bed early, maybe like 11 or 12 o'clock. I can't remember. But we went to Uncle Charlie's and we got like, I can't remember what he got. I know I got salmon. We got curly fries. And my dad had a thing, curly fries. He stuck it in the theater. And we were watching Teen Wolf 2. That's the one with Jason Bateman. And eating the curly fries. And I remember that was a good memory I had with my dad. That was cool. So I hope you liked this review. Oh, and I think Teen Wolf 2 is an awesome movie too. I think I reviewed it before. I remember I didn't see it for the longest time. It was kind of hard to find on VHS. And then I think Encore or Plex was playing it a lot. I remember I saw it like 2 or 3 times. I still really liked the movie. The critics didn't, but I thought it was really good. Now, I give that probably a 10 out of 10. But I hope you like this review of Eddie Murphy's Raw. Yeah, I know I went a little bit off on a tangent, but that's okay too. So until next time, bye, please. Take care, my Legion.